Good afternoon. My name is Marijn Rijk and I'm going to be presenting my Year 4 internship at the HDR today. So first of all, I'll start by explaining what the HDR is. The HDR is a non-partisan, dialogue-based organization that fosters dialogue between the divided sides of the island, Cyprus. So, first of all, I'll start by talking about the IPPL competencies. We'll go through them competency by competency, and as you can see, I was quite ambitious and I did my best to improve the following 5 competencies during my 6-month internship. And this is the table on the right that I used to develop and to schedule the development of my competencies. So, the first one, analyzing social issues, which is competency 2. Previously, I had a limited and more of a theory-based way of approaching social issues, and this internship really gave me hands-on practice. So I was able to analyze social issues like the conflict in Cyprus from learning from hands-on and actual interactions between people who had experienced the conflict, and this took shape in the form of people during walks in the city, historical walks, actually sharing their initiatives, and I was able to learn about this great social issue. And these were really impactful and I think meaningful learning moments. Furthermore, it really improved my listening skills and my overall diplomatic abilities. Okay, so competency 5, moral compass. This was a relatively interesting competency to be able to develop. Because the buffer zone and the NGO within it were a politically neutral environment. This was something that I had not experienced before. I really had to adjust myself in that sense, and I had to respect contested narratives. I had to be careful with what to say to certain people that were there. For example, journalists that were partaking or dropping off their children in some of the events that we had in the buffer zone. And of course, they would try to get some sort of information out of you. Furthermore, the community engagement ethics I've talked about for a bit. And response to external threats, there were moments where there were external threats, at least I felt threatened, and I had to react to that in a morally sound way. I had to think about certain situations for a while and weigh the pros and cons and come up with a well-weighed, sound decision on certain things, following my moral compass. So, the next competency, social communication and cooperation. I had previously learned about this in the classes that we had on intercultural communication, of course, but I had a very limited experience in working in intercultural teams. At least I was doing this mostly in the Netherlands with my classmates or in the classroom with international professors. And this was very, very different in my experience from working in a multicultural or Cypriot culture, because it wasn't really multicultural, I have to say. It was mostly Cypriot culture. In this environment, it was very challenging for me to learn and to adapt. Nonetheless, I think I made some progression and was able to reflect on it and learn from it in retrospect. My personal life mixed a lot with my professional life. I was there with my partner, which made it very hard, and then we had a breakup, which was very tough. But I tried to make the best out of it and attempted to not have my communication skills or cooperation skills be influenced by all of these occurrences. And furthermore, I got a good opportunity to practice my cross-cultural empathic listening skills, and the empathic listening skills that I was talking about were very important in my eyes. So the next slide, the last competency, the self-directed development. So there was no formal mentorship, unfortunately. So I had to resort to proactive feedback seeking by contacting my colleagues, which weren't always the most responsible over me, because technically I was not their responsibility, but I really tried my best, tried to make the best out of it. Sometimes you just have to do your best in these situations. Where I lacked some development opportunities in the internship, I tried to seek them out extracurricularly. So I went to Berlin for the European Youth Parliament, and I went to Brussels to the Young European Federalists meeting, where I was able to challenge myself intellectually. My internship product. I had an initial proposal for the Dutch embassy, which was declined, unfortunately, by the internship organization, so not by the embassy. So I had to resort to an event execution report. How is it being used? To be very honest, because of the communicative challenges that I was talking about earlier, there was not a lot of supervision, and they just said, okay, do whatever you want. It's just a box to tick off, and we'll see it from there, which was a pity because it was my learning experience, but I made the best out of it nonetheless and got to learn from it in that way. Quickly about the internship product, it was a event execution report about an event on publication that had been released earlier on women's stories from Cyprus, so a progressive feminist publication. I'll go to the next slide now. So the scan of project opportunities, in the end, because of all the problems I faced, I had to switch, and I had to make the rest of the products for another organization, which is the 106th Intelligence Organization, which I've been writing my thesis for the past months. The graduation track and plan, doing a graduation internship, writing my thesis on AI. I will continue my advocacy for the European Youth Parliament, and I'm continuing to work in participation for TUAS. Okay, so the reflection on overall challenges and achievements. I just made this quick table to kind of visualize it. So the challenges were navigating sensitive topics, political topics sometimes, lack of structure. There were some challenges there, but in return I got things like being able to learn to manage logistics for community dialogue events. I gained practical conflict resolution skills and negotiation skills. So if you're interested, I would recommend you to look at this table in detail after the presentation, which I will send, of course. So thank you for your attention. I've tried my best to make this presentation as interactive as possible and as detailed as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on the email address below in the screen. Thank you very much.